We have Paletteful packs, May 2020. Let's see what's inside. What do we have? Van Gogh pocket box. Oh, cool. Little brush. Very nice. The little scraper at the end. I like that. It's kind of loose in there. See how it works when we paint with it. What do we have? 12 colors and mixing wells. This is cool. This looks like it's going to sit really flat on the table, so that's nice. That'll pop in there. Pans will come out with some effort. More of these Strathmore watercolor postcards. Getting quite a collection of these. These are 140-pound cold press. That'll be fun. And what's this? Watercolor paper. So more Strathmore. 140-pound. More cold press. So basically the same thing, just double-sided and binding on the side that's coming off. Oh, there's a brush. A wee mop, silver. Very nice. I don't have a mop brush currently. I just have hockey brushes. So this will be nice. Alright, let's play. Let's see what we can do. Something that's really handy about this brush and the way it's made, not just a scraper for your paintings, but it will fit in this little slot. And you can pull this out and have extra mixing space, so you can use the whole lid there and all these separate wells. So that's really cool. And then I suspect that this little brush will work for pulling out these pans too. Nope, the brush is a little too fragile for that, so don't do that. But they show it on this box using this brush to pull those out, but it has actually kind of bent and creased my brush right there when I tried it. So I would recommend getting a pocket knife or something instead if you ever need to pop these out. Now I probably will pop these out and see if there's any names on them, because the only names are right here. And if they're not on the pans, I'm just going to put them on the pans with some Sharpie in case I really like a color and want to replace it later, or I move a pan into another travel palette or something like that. I'll know exactly what it is, so I will be doing that. For the labeling on these pans, I just used a black Posca pen. It's an acrylic paint marker, and you can see, just wrote the information down there. And then this Payne's Gray did fall out on me when I was doing that, but it's not falling out. Oh, there it is. But I imagine once you get it wet and stuff, it hopefully expands and doesn't contract. Sometimes they contract and then they'll fall out, but not a huge deal when it's shut and closed and all that. Not often you're going to go, hey, let's shake it out. So anyway, you have to let that dry a bit because it comes on really wet, because this is really, what do you call it? A slick plastic. And then just pop it back in. So, and they're all labeled, and you can get rid of this safely. If you've watched some of my other videos, then you will know that I like to make a swatch sheet that exactly matches the layout of my palette. So I do spend some time doing that. This particular one came with Chinese White, which was PW4, Permanent Lemon Yellow, which is PY184, Azo Yellow Medium, PY154 and PO62, Permanent Red Light, which is PR254, Madder Lake Deep, PR264, Ultramarine Deep, PB29, Cerulean Blue, that one has a phthalo version, PB15 and PW6, Sap Green, PY129 and PG7, Viridian, PG7, Payne's Gray, which is PBK6 and PV19, Yellow Ochre, PY42, and Burnt Sienna, PR101 and PBK11. Quite a nice selection. Really enjoyed the colors. I was able to make anything I wanted in the two little paintings that I end up doing in this video, so stay tuned for those because they're kind of fun. I did not, however, really like the paper that I swatched on, and this was the Strathmore watercolor postcard paper. I just grabbed a clipboard because the acrylic plexiglass that I usually use still has a painting on it that I need to finish or do something with. So I'm going to use the watercolor pad. This is 5.5 by 8.5. And I will just tape that on there. This is the right side up. The back side is textured more like a checkerboard, and this one is a little bit more, organic, I guess you would say. So this is considered the right side, this is considered the back side. I assume you can use both sides, but I'm not sure how they're sized. Real quick, this is how the swatches dried, and there's a sheen on a few of them. It's not a huge deal. Even my professional grade watercolors will do that if I have enough pigment there. They don't do it quite so quickly or easily as this, but that's all right. And then you probably saw when I was doing the swatches that I have the word phthalo in here in parentheses, and this cerulean blue completely covered it. So some of these are a little bit opaque, and they're very pigmented though. They are really, really like ridiculously easy to re-wet, so that's really fun. I like that. And moving on here, I have a little sketch of a cat, and you probably can't see it. It's just the eyes and the nose, so I want to keep it real simple. But one of the Paletteful prompts this month, and that's online only, again, no more little card in the box, is cat. So I figured I would paint this cat and see what happens. Okay, forgot to turn my camera on. So all I did was use the mop brush, put a bunch of water down, and then I grabbed a little of the yellow ochre out of here, diluted it a bit, and tossed it on these watered spots. So, yep, sorry you missed that. There's something in my mind that says, oh, you turned the camera on, like the power on, and that makes me think that I turned the recording on, but I didn't. So someday I'll get that right. All right, I've lost a couple of hairs out of this brush like here, but nothing too bad, so I think we're doing good. Paletteful Packs comes with 4 prompts every month. One of them is Monster Creation, another is Outside Your Window, third one is Cat, and the fourth one is Where Do You Wish You Could Go? So obviously I chose Cat for my first prompt that I wanted to try these watercolors out with, and I think it turned out pretty decent. There's a couple things I don't like about it. It seems like the eyes are uneven, and you know, cats have expressions and this and that, and doesn't mean their eyes are always going to be exactly the same side to side, but I kind of feel like in my painting they should have been even. And then in my painting, the cat's nose is a little bit crooked, and it just drives me cuckoo to this day. And I kind of debate, well, should I say anything? Because will you even notice if I don't say anything? But it's one of those things that drives me crazy. So that is what it is. I've definitely gotten spoiled using cotton watercolor paper lately because this paper kind of drove me crazy. And as I mentioned briefly when I did the swatch, I didn't like that paper at all. But I think it's fun to just throw color down on that kind of paper and just mess around with it. But I am curious how these paints will behave on actual cotton paper. So I'm going to use them a lot in the future because I enjoyed how easily they re-wet, and I can't wait to try them on cotton paper. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. This was a good set to receive. And this is how my kitty turned out. In conclusion, these paints were really fun to work with. The paper was fine. I didn't really like the paper when I was doing the swatch, and I used the watercolor postcard paper for that. I don't know, it just seemed unimpressive, but that's okay. But this seemed fine for this little project, but I was doing really, really light touches with the brush, so nothing really heavy, no heavy washes. Love the mop brush, definitely going to be using that a lot. This thing, as you might have seen, if I didn't fast forward it too much, comes apart all the time, so that's really annoying. So if you're going to travel with this, I suggest you travel with some tape, and when you put it together, go ahead and tape it while you're using it, because the brush itself works great. It just keeps falling apart at the seam, so that was annoying. And I had a lot of fun, and here is my prompt cat. So just a quick note on this palette, I went ahead and laminated my swatch sheet here, and I think even without the lamination, I'm not really sure, but when I close it, it won't really latch. So just that extra bit of thickness in there just won't let it latch. So I tried, it's kind of interesting because I tried it without this, and it latches better, but I can still pull it apart, just not quite as easily. So it won't latch fully, regardless. It doesn't seem like it's going to latch really tightly. So if you have a swatch card in there, or even if you just want to be careful, I would suggest putting a rubber band around it. And I was going to leave it at that, but I slept on it and couldn't help but do another prompt which is where do you wish you could go? And for me, it is Lake Powell because I haven't been there in a couple of years and we're used to going a few times every single year. So I decided to do Lake Powell. And with Paletteful packs, you don't get an incentive to do their prompts other than sometimes they feature your artwork, and that is so cool. I love it when that happens. And, you get the satisfaction of creating a cool piece of art out of something you wouldn't have thought of before. So there is that. However, with Smart Art Box, you get rewards points if you complete all 4 of their challenges, and so that really motivates people to want to complete them because they can accumulate enough points to eventually get a free box. And I've received, I think, 3 boxes in the last 19 months or so, so it adds up to quite a bit considering boxes are $50 each usually on full price. And for Paletteful packs, I paid for the whole year at one time, so it came out to $32.50 per month. And in this particular box, the Van Gogh pocket set alone retails at $39.95, but you can find it on Amazon for about $31.24 or so as of today. And so that alone pays for the price of the box, plus you get the 2 pads of paper and the mop brush, so it's awesome. One of my favorite parts of this painting, even though there's lots of it that I don't like because I've always been terrified to paint slick rock, but anyway, my favorite part is this because the watercolor did its thing and it looks beautiful just like washed out slick rock would look. And then I also like this dry brush effect kind of that's left right here. Yeah, that's about it on this. The rest is just, so. Thanks so much for joining me. Really appreciate your time today. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Really helps me out. And if you like the content you see on my channel, please consider subscribing. I will see you in the next video.